Okay, Valentin. So I wanted to have you on tonight because we have basically the news of the day that Vito
Nice.
is not going to be wrestling in the Olympic trials. Pretty big news. Defending world champion, one of the favorites. He had a bye in the semifinals for the world team for the Olympic trials, and now he's not in. So I wanted to kind of get your take on all of this. First of all, I guess, was this a surprise to you? Did you expect to see this?
I would not expect to see that, but at the same time, I felt it would be really hard for him, after season go 57 kilo. Yeah,
Right.
I was wondering how it's gonna work, but I was kind of worried about it too, because this family, Ugar is a friend of mine, and I know well family, and I'm a fan of this family, both father and son. And obviously it's probably a hard decision for them,
Yeah.
but I believe both of them would figure it out, and Ugar would make a right statement as his experienced coach, athlete, and father. So
Yeah.
I respect that decision, and yeah, it's sad, but uh, in which way it's sad, it's like we just wonder how it would work, right? But health is health. Health is number one.
Right. And that is a really big deal. And we were just with
Yeah.
Bogar and Vito at the Wrestlers and Business dinner at New York Athletic Club.
Yeah.
It was great seeing them over there right after. It was a couple days after Vito won his second NCAA championship.
Yeah.
So he was just, he just won it a second time. It was a really nice. They got a recognition award for their success. Both Vito and Vogar spoke, so it was great to see them there. And yeah, just it seemed like it was going to be tough because it's basically another 10-pound weight cut, about 10 pounds
after the season.
Right after the season.
Yeah. After World Championship, after season, having some injuries.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, selfishly, we probably would love to see Vito tough matches, selfishly.
Right.
But again, I think Vito has a bright future, whatever he does. And maybe a little bit more time and 65 kilo would be better for him as Olympic weight. As for right now, it's a great decision. Get ready for 61 kilo and win the world again.
I don't know why my computer just did the thumbs down. Can you see me? It looks like I'm frozen.
You're frozen, yeah.
And is it frozen with the thumbs down?
Yes.
That's pretty funny. No, I agree with everything you say, but I'm sure it will kick back in. That's okay. Let me try to do that. Let me try to do this. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and we were speaking a little bit about Vito earlier in the season, and of course, one thing that we both agree on is that the athletes should always have a choice, right? And there's many factors going on behind the scenes that we don't have access to. So we're always assuming that people are trying their best. They're doing the best they can. The coaches at Cornell, Vito, everyone. And that goes for all the coaches. So, but we talk about these things behind the scenes with our limited knowledge of what we think might be good decisions. And one of the things we spoke about was that maybe one of the things you were saying was that Vito was tall, but maybe it's a long weight cut down to 57, that maybe that might be a decision for him. And we spoke about this maybe a month or two ago about maybe it's a better decision for him to go up to 65 kilos. Talk about that a little bit, that you were thinking about for his long-term development.
Yeah, I was thinking, again, I did not follow. He probably qualified for 57 kilo to compete at the Olympic trial, but ideally, if he would have a freedom of choice and I would be his coach, like I said, it would be my opinion to suggest him go 65 kilo, not 57 kilo, and his situation.
Right.
So that's what I was saying a couple of months ago.
Right. And the difficult thing, of course, Vito and Yanni, both of our
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
both of our
It's,
guys. We
yeah,
love both Vito and Yanni.
it's
The,
another story. Yeah, they are teammates. So
the, the downside is teammates and great friends. We're
and
now
great
being in
friends.
this,
Yeah.
both being in the same weight. So that's a difficult dynamic right there. I mean, have you seen, I'm sure over the years, you've probably seen dynamics with that with good friends who have been in the same weight competing for,
Yeah.
an Olympic gold. Are there any
Yeah.
examples you could think of like that?
I think I remember what, in Greco-Roman in Atlanta. I believe in Atlanta, 96. Remember 52 kilo Paulson?
Paulson and Hall, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember it's
Yeah,
like a trial match. I saw it on TV. They just let it go till the first attack.
right.
I think they were friends.
Oh, yeah.
Back then I did not know,
No, no,
but
that's
yeah,
that's a very good example because I remember them hugging each other after and everything. It was
yeah.
very, very close. It was a very emotional moment. The other moment I could think of was Brandon Slay from the University of Pennsylvania,
Oh,
uh,
that's
and
right.
and Brian Dolph, who was his coach at
His
Penn.
coach. Yeah, yeah,
That was another good one. So it happens, and now we see a lot of people also at Penn State. There's many wrestlers this weekend coming up at Penn State that are going to be going up against each other. Possibly, you have Dake, who's training at Penn State, along with Carter Starachi, along with Jason Nolf. You have
yeah,
you have Aaron Brooks and David Taylor. I mean, we see these examples
yeah,
all the
yeah,
time, all the
yeah.
time,
Nothing you can do. It's only one spot.
right? Six,
And yeah, and we're all wrestlers. We're all family, pretty much. It's a close friend. It's a
right,
family friends. It's a friends of the team. But you have to deal with that. You want to do. You want to
right.
be the best.
Right. I know we're getting off the beaten path a little bit. And here we'll circle back to the NCAAs after. But while we're on this topic, I thought it'd be interesting to hear your take on only 6 weights in the Olympics. I mean, I think all wrestling fans
As
don't like don't like that.
Yeah, we came to the point when we were saying it's got to have at least 6 weight classes for Olympics. Remember after 2013 decision, just no wrestling,
Yeah.
and we said wrestling, everybody was happy. We got 6 weight classes.
Yeah.
Uh, so now I'm worried after that match with Chamizo. I'm worried that they're gonna say it's wrestling way corrupted. Let's close it again. That's my worry, but hopefully
Yeah.
everything gonna be okay.
I know we're going off the beaten path now a little bit, but now that you bring it up, did Frankie reach out to you and talk to you about that at all? Did you guys speak since then?
Yeah, I talked to him. Yeah, it was hard. I know Frankie for many years, since 2013, and I know how strong he is. Even sometimes people thinking he's funny, goofy. Inside of him is a sleeping tiger or lion, and he showed that. I mean, I was after 6-0 score. I believe it was 4-0, but 6-0 score. And Frankie, cutting weight, was not in his best. Probably was in good shape, but don't forget his age and how many years he wrestled behind him. And I never seen Frankie like that. He just, that was. I mean, he showed how strong he is mentally. Like I knew Frankie like that. I knew how he is, but he first time I think he showed that.
Yeah.
First time. I mean, when he was younger, like when he was winning in Las Vegas World Championship 2015, he had tough matches, 65 kilo. But after that, I did not see him like that.
Yeah.
So it's really bad story to me what happened.
Yeah, no, and I know you made that post because I wasn't aware of it at the time, and you made that very heartfelt post, obviously
Yeah,
from coach to an athlete. It got
yeah,
a lot of visibility. A lot of people were looking at that, and I think that woke a lot of people up. And then we started to see videos on YouTube of the match and of
yeah,
Frankie's reaction, which is hard to see. It's hard to see. And then now everyone says there was corruption of being bribed or trying to be bribed before the game.
Yeah.
Can you speak about that at all?
I think we all have a feeling it is a corruption. We cannot prove it. We can say it, right? You got to prove, you got to catch people when they pay money. but I think, you know, with our life experience, I'm 65. I see in my life a lot of things, and I feel it is a corruption. I feel it's a money involved. And actually, Frankie made the statement that he had an offer night before $300,000.
Right.
So there is no proof, but Frankie made this statement.
Yeah.
Right. So see what happened.
Right. And I guess
it's sad though. And I'm getting a lot of messages from Azerbaijani apologizing. Yeah. So first day, it was kind of like from a few Azerbaijani were very aggressive. But now I'm getting actually messages, not on Instagram, off Instagram, private messages, apologizing.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have, I mean, they sending those messages obviously to Frankie, but because I posted, you know, so they also sending me messages.
Yeah. And like you said, this is one of those things. This is not a wrestling specific issue. There's corruption involved in all sports. So we don't want to give wrestling a bad name.
Yeah. He just was yeah.
Right.
I mean, they should not pick Frankie to this case, you know, because a lot of people watching Frankie. It's embarrassing for wrestling.
Right.
I mean, it's embarrassing to everybody when you get it screwed. It's not good feeling. But, you know, but a lot of people have been watching Frankie. That's embarrassing for UWW.
Yeah. And especially since he would be likely one of the favorites. I mean, I would assume you would think he's got a chance to win out of all the people there. I mean, he's got tremendous talent, one of the best guys.
Yeah. And he's hungry to win. You know, that's the reason he wrestled. He want to retire because his dreams to win Olympic gold.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess.
I think if you realize Frankie, one of those people who made the history wrestle having medals in 55 kilo. He was a medalist in World Championship in 2010 in Moscow, 55 kilo. Then 2015, 65 kilo world champion. After a couple of years, he could not wrestle because he moved from Cuba to Italy. And then Olympic Games, 2016, he was in favor to win. Back then, he beat Ramonov. And 2017, 70 kilo world champion. And then 2018, 19, world placer, 74 kilo. Now he's a European placer, 79 kilo. How many wrestlers in the history you know who went through this road?
I mean, the only person I could think of is Anatoly Beloglazov. Didn't he win wasn't he three weights?
Anatoly, 48 kilo, 52 kilo.
Was he three weights, I think?
48, 52. Maybe 57, I don't remember. Valentin just passed away. He won 87 kilo, 82 kilo. I believe 82 kilo in Munich, 90 kilo in Montreal. Yeah, beating both Petersons. Olympics.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think he was a world champion in 100 kilo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I saw him some big international tournaments heavyweight. So
he was one of the first. Teddy Ashavelli was one of the first people that I watched. So my coach in high school, my personal coach, Don Ernst, was the U.S. Olympic video technician from 1975 to 1979. So his favorite wrestler, or one of his favorite, was Teddy Ashavelli. So he was
same here. Yeah.
Yeah. So he showed me the high single leg, and a lot of the match was from the Ben Peterson '72 Olympics, and then '76 he beat John. So that's, or vice versa, John, and then he beat Ben, right?
I don't know this. Yeah, back then I was a Soviet boy.
Yes. All right, so let's circle back to the NCAA's. There's so most wrestlers are not in this boat, and again, we know that everyone can do what they want, but in your ideal scenario, in your head, holding all things equal, when you have guys who are world medalists, whether it be junior world medalists or senior world medalists, and then they have to go through the grind of a college season. In your opinion, what are some of your thoughts? Maybe not a decision, but what are some of your thoughts there? We know people have had success. Gable Steveson, Kyle Snyder, and the list goes on, right? But on the other hand, that's not necessarily the route for everyone. What are some of your thoughts about that, just in general, if guys should do that, or when they should and when they shouldn't do that, and how that might relate to Vito?
It's hard questions. There's no answer pretty much because some people also do that. Some people, less people actually wants to go only freestyle or Greco. Most of the people wants to do both, and part of it because they grew up like that. It's a system. I mean, it's not a system. We just it's pretty much American system, and nothing wrong with the system. It's a great system, right? It's American been always, it's always competition. Russia, America, Iran, lightweight classes, Japan or Turkey, but it's a big countries with wrestling, and so American always in good position. Sometime up, sometime down. I mean, obviously, yes, it's better than you wrestle only freestyle. I think it's easy answer. But historically, freestyle came from American collegiate wrestling. Historically,
did it?
Yes. So
I didn't know that.
I think that was Olympics was Greco, and then I don't remember, like in beginning of 20th century when Olympics won in the United States. I believe United States introduced the collegiate style as a country, introduced the sport, and they modified it to international wrestling, making freestyle. So that's why American historically had a success as a sport. That's why I believe it's an American sport, freestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess let me rephrase the question and look at it a little bit differently.
So yeah, go ahead.
Because you have experience that a lot of people in America don't have, having basically a master's degree in elite coaching for wrestling, and you've seen people in different countries overseas. So you have a particular vantage point that other people don't have, that you've been in America for whatever, over 30 years now. So you've seen America and you've seen overseas, which a lot of people have not. What might be some of the factors that would influence the decision for an athlete, whether they should wrestle the NCAA season and then the Worlds and the Olympics, or what factors might they look at to say, well, no, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea in this particular case to wrestle the NCAA season and then freestyle? What would you look for?
In this particular case with Vito, again, winning world championship 61 kilo, then grind in NCAA and get you ready for Olympics, it's not perfect scenarios. I mean, it's obvious. As I say, Vito and all family, actually, they're very loyal people. So I understand Vito, he's very loyal to Cornell, like very loyal. Like what I'm saying, it's a lot of loyal people, but I would have a kind of special story about, his father, Arujau, how loyal Arujau was for his coach. It's something, it's hard to explain.
And you don't see that as much. You don't see that as much here nowadays.
No. It's a story. We have no time right now, and what I see his son going the same way. He's very loyal to the people he's around and very loyal to his program. It's my understanding. Again, I did not talk to Vito, but I kind of know that they probably understand that it's not perfect scenario wrestle collegiate season and then getting ready for Olympics. And maybe in their head, maybe it will be good. But then, I see Vito sad face when he was saying that he would not be able to wrestle, So he understand that it's not a perfect scenario, but he did what he did,
Right. At the end of the day, we have to make choices, right? Sometimes we make the right choice, sometimes the wrong, and it's not just a matter of right and wrong, but optimal. Like some decisions are more optimal than others.
But remember, we talked about it a few days ago when I met you, saying that in sport, especially my sport, it's sport of my life, sport of wrestling. Number one, you want to raise
good
human beings, good citizen, and that's how they are. All wrestlers, we've been always like a family internationally, and to me, wrestlers, it's a special nationality. It's a very loyal people, and those people, Vito and his dad, Lugar, they're one of them. So no exception. That's a reason. Probably that's what they did.
Right.
I know. Schneider did the same. I remember when coaches were talking about do not wrestle. 2016 season, he did wrestle, and he won Olympic gold, but he did not cut weight like Vito. So that's a different story.
That's a big thing. And we were speaking before we started rolling the cameras that I brought up Kyle Snyder, Gable Stevenson, and as you said, they didn't have to cut weight the whole season, or they wrestled in the Olympics at the same weight class, whereas Vito would have to go down a significant amount of weight, about 10 pounds.
Yeah. So it's you can compare. Yeah, when you're cutting weight, you most likely you're gonna have injuries in a long grind season. Cutting weight helping you to have injuries, literally helping you to have injuries. It's a sports physiology. It's hard to avoid.
And that's exactly what we saw with Vito. And again, we're certainly not picking on him. If anything, we're just using this as an example to step away from this situation and just look at it in general, like the general question, not even necessarily Vito's situation. Right away, you think, well, a guy who's really good, who's in the hunt to possibly win a world or Olympic medal or championship, if they're wrestling the long grind, a 6-month college season, it's a lot of wrestling. It's making weight a lot of times. Also, we look at Snyder and Stevenson. They were heavyweight. They weren't one of the normal weight classes, and not normal, but you know what I mean. One of the lower weight classes where you have to pull a little bit of weight. It's just a lot of making weight and a lot of competition, and frankly, a lot of competition that's not necessarily testing you the way you need to be tested. Like, are there good people in the NCAAs? Yes, of course. We saw Vito lost to someone in the NCAAs twice. So it can happen, but is that ultimately preparing someone, and not just Vito, we're just speaking about people in general, is that preparing them for the Olympics? I mean, a guy like Dayton Fix is another good example of that. Second in the worlds means he's very capable of getting it done.
Yeah, it's also saying how competitive our sport in the USA as well. But yes, obviously it's not ideal, especially it's the 21st century when people training twice a day, 3 times a day, not like 100 years ago, train 3 times a week. So cutting weight, I mean, human body is a human body. We maybe learn how to recover. We have some, I don't know, protein shakes and all this stuff, which was not available 100 years ago. But now, still, human body is human body. Human body need the time to recover. So it's hard to grind and go and grind and go and grind and peaking and not having injuries. It's almost impossible. And you know, as a young athlete, when I grew up back in Soviet, we also train. I train like 2-3 times a day, and I saw what overtraining means. You know, I saw the story when we studied in sport university about overtraining, and actually one of the guy who I knew, he's a swimmer. He was a like #1 in Europe swimmer. He was about a swimmer training a lot, so probably like 25-30 kilometers a day swimming. Okay, so it's like what? It's like 12-15 miles a day.
Nuts.
Yeah, so he was overtrained and he came to practice, did not feel well. That was his second practice. And he told coach, I can't swim. I'm so tired. I can't swim. I don't even know how to swim. And coach looked at him like, what are you talking about? You don't know how to swim. And he's just like, come on, just push him to the swimming, to the water. And he started drawing. First, they thinking he was playing, and then they actually saved him, and then he ended up in mental hospital. That's a true story. I saw this story.
And this is in
That's
the Soviet Union?
Yes, it's overtraining. It's literally overtraining, right? And so in wrestling or those type of sports, when your body overtrain, and especially you cutting weight, because when you cutting weight, you're not only training for sport, you're also running a lot, you diet a lot. So you got to do a lot of volume of exercising, and you're not recovering. And so you can get injury very easy because you're not focused. You can, like sometime for warm up, you start playing soccer just for warm up, and all of a sudden your knee or your ankle, boom. And, people, should happen. But should happen for a reason sometime when you overtrain. So, and then I saw also, again, it's a history, 1968, in Olympic Games in Mexico, freestyle Soviet Union team was very unsuccessful. I think they got 1 or 2 gold. And those 2 golds, I think 2, were from the people who were injured in a wrestling camp. So they did not train. So they won gold. So tell me what. So, I mean, it's a lot of stories when you have to be smart, obviously, how you train. But again, when you grind all season and cutting weight for Olympics, it's not ideal. I mean, I just give a lot of scenarios, a lot of examples, so to kind of prove what I'm thinking. But again, I think everybody understands that. Everybody understands that. Coaches, university coaches, they are very educated, very smart people. Sometimes, like I said, we deal with that's what we need for the team. That's athletes very loyal to the team, and that's what we have.
Yeah.
So it's a choice.
Right. Okay. If you had a magic wand, or if they made you in charge of USA Wrestling, and they said, okay, we want to have an NCAA season, but we also want to win Olympic gold medals. Now, that might not perfectly correlate, right? What would you do if you were put in charge for the NCAA season, and then how would you get them ready also for the Worlds and Olympics to optimize? Because like you said, there's a lot of overtraining. How would you work that in?
Is Rich Bender gonna hear that?
No, it's okay, because
just
hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
We'll get the video. We'll make sure he gets the video.
I don't want him. I'm in a 36th floor. They're gonna throw me.
I'll make that the title. A message for Rich Bender.
No, I think everybody understands what is good, but again, we have a system, but we have like Olympic red shirt, right? Can you take a year off?
Olympic red shirt, yes.
Yeah, So that's what we have.
Wh-
So I think with that, I mean, somebody makes this rule. So, you know, you have a right to use this rule, to take a year
Right.
off. So
Okay.
that's what I would do. But again, we have responsibilities.
All right. All right. You're running for political office here with these answers. Okay. No.
No,
No,
no.
I just,
As a coach, I
no.
would say, yeah, that's what you
Olympic red
do.
shirt. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but you know, I'm telling you why I'm like that.
Yeah.
Look, I grew up in different country. In country where I grew up, it's Soviet and Ukraine later. For us, or for me, Olympic gold, it's number one. Henry Cejudo, every time he's 3C, and he always comes with Olympic gold medal, and that's why I love Henry, and say that's a number one medal. Those two belts is good, UFC belts, but Olympic gold is Olympic gold. And so to me, Olympic gold is Olympic gold, whatever you say. I mean, it's great. Like I said, you know, people saying you don't understand because you did not, you know, you're not from this country. Well, I've been in this country 33 years.
Right.
So I've been in this country, if some coach 30 years old, so I've probably been more than him. You know,
Right.
but still in my blood, I want Olympic gold. Now my son wrestled here. My son grew up here. He won California State. He went to Cal Poly. He was a few times All-American. So he wrestled. I know I was involved. I was emotional when he wrestled in a collegiate level, but deep inside, I wanted to be Olympic. I wanted him win Olympic gold.
Right.
He never done it, unfortunately. You know,
Right.
so I'm pretty sure I talked to a lot of people who was born here in this country that they want Olympic gold. They care less about collegiate wrestling. Most of the people not, but some people say that.
Right.
I'm sorry to say it.
No, that's what
I'm just kidding, but it's true.
that's what it is. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this? How many matches do you think if you had to make the choice, how many matches in the season would there be in high school and college? Because we're seeing guys wrestling about 30 to 40 matches. Would you say that's too much? Should it only be maybe 20? Should it be 15? Should it be 25? Like roughly, what would you want it to be?
Well, ideally, again,
So they're not overtraining.
from my experience as a international coach, uh, ideally, when you're younger, you can take more tournaments. Let's say you have a nationals qualified for, back in my country, European, world. So it's already 3 tournaments,
Right.
right? And then couple ranking tournaments. It's already 5 tournaments, right? So 5, 6 tournaments, and it's a busy season. 5, 6 tournaments,
Right.
right? Sometimes you have dual meet, sometimes this, sometimes this. So 5, 6 tournaments. Let's say 5 matches. So 30 matches a year.
Yeah. Beyond that, would you say that's now you're leaning towards overtraining, or are you starting to be concerned with overtraining around 20? Like, in other words, do you start paying closer attention when they're at the 20 to 25 or 30 match mark? Is there something you're looking for? I know you're looking at the athlete every single match, but
Yeah.
should coach maybe be more aware once you see they're hitting 20, 25 matches? I don't know.
Gotta work close with the sport medicine, psychologist, physiologist, uh, give enough time for recovery. Recovery is a key, by the way. Because you can work hard, but if you're not recover, that's a problem. Then probably you're gonna end up with overtraining and injuries. I remember again, it was in 70s. It was revolutionary start back in Eastern European countries. It was like a revolution train every day in 60s, every day. And then, because Olympics and became political after Second War. And then training was twice a day, 3 times a day. And then people realize, well, you cannot train more than 24 hours. So what do you do? And you know who was in advance? German, Eastern German, because they actually, if you watch it, it was a small country, and in Olympics, I believe, like if you check Munich, Montreal, Eastern Germany were like a Soviet first, maybe America second, and Eastern Germany, right there.
Was that Seeger? Seeger? Was Seeger Germany? Adolf Seeger? Sager? I don't know. One of the wrestlers I knew from.
Oh, I'm not talking about wrestlers. I'm talking about sport.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
About training back then.
Okay.
When in the 70s, all sports start training like 2 times a day.
Yep.
Like professional athletes.
Okay.
So training, and so the problem was in recovery. And so I remember that back then I was in sports university. We've been studying like a sport physiology, biochemistry, psychology, all this stuff. And we had all the science behind sport, but we're in this country, we're not disciplined. Coaches were not disciplined. They were saying, we know better, like those sciences. But German, using Soviet science, did precise what it was written in the book. And so they knew how to recover because they were very disciplined how to recover. They would not overtrain, very rare. I even saw it like, so again, swimmers. So let's say they have a program, and every time, let's say they swim 200 meters, and then it's a coach and it's a medical personnel. So they would instantly take a blood from the right here, and check result. And I saw how coach said, get out from the water, you're done. Oh. Yeah, so they check instantly, and they were very precise how they've been doing it. I mean, it was easier to do in aerobic sport, like cycling, swimming, running. That's where they were advanced. Wrestling is very hard to calculate, but then you got to rely on coach experience, how to make sure that athlete not overtrain.
Wow. So that makes me interested. What are some of the best ways that a wrestler can avoid overtraining, whether it be different modalities for recovery, whether it be, I don't know, sauna, ice bath, or how much time in between workouts? What do you recommend?
It's all this counts. I think you have to work close to, people who understand that and have tools for this. Lately, you have this type of tools. I mean, it's a system. Plus, we have tools, with the oxygen when in intensive work. We have tools on your heartbeat when you wrestle, like a Apple Watch, so we can calculate what intensity you did, how many minutes per 10 minutes, your intensity. Then you can check your recovery with a blood pressure. Let's say right after the match, you can check blood pressure instantly, right? So you see how recovery going on in first 30 seconds, first minute, second minute, third minute, right? So when you train well, recovery going to go fast. When you overtrain, recovery going to go slow. So I mean, you have to understand sport medicine to do that, and as a coach, also you have to have an instinct, I believe.
Right.
Like I know my athletes, so whatever doctor could tell me, I would say, I feel like he's done, or I feel he need a little bit more. So I've kind of, with the years and been with my athletes like a family, I can feel it. It's hard though. I mean, I'm not always relying on my feeling, but yeah, I've been actually successful relying on my feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have coaches that have been doing it for a long time, like you have, right? So they
Yeah,
develop an instinct, but also you have to also look at it. You were also trained with the biomechanics, the physiology that a lot of coaches just haven't been able to be trained with. So your instincts are going to be honed not only from experience,
yeah,
but
based on knowledge. Yeah,
but based on knowledge. So if you had a coach that just didn't have that because that's not how they grew up, should they be working with should they be actually with a sports medicine psychologist? Like what would you recommend? Like when you were training, obviously we spoke about this the other day. Amit Allure, Helen Maroulis, Aaron Pico. I guess what did you do? And what do you think you did well there, and or maybe and what can people do to replicate that kind of?
yeah. Again, I knew them really well. They were like Aaron, like my son. Helen and Meet was like my daughter. They were like my daughter. So I knew them. I knew them really well. I could feel them where they should train more, where they should train less. I remember before Olympics, uh, Helen came to practice. And she trained about 15 minutes. And I told her, "You're done. That's it." And she's like, "What do you mean?" It's like 15 minutes. So that's it. You did what I want you to do. You feel good. You look great. You're ready. Get out. Don't be in the restroom room. And she was kind of almost started crying, but then she won Olympic gold.
Right.
so, so again, it, or some people they need to be more in the restroom room to feel better about it. Again, it's hard. It's hard. You can't just say that's the way to do. We're
Right.
all different. We're all different.
Right. I guess, and that's why instead of like pressing for an exact answer, I guess I think about what are some of the variables that you are looking at that might influence your decision. And then, of course, each kid is a little bit different.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I just know a person. I cannot coach person if I don't know. I can do clinics. I can run practice like everybody else. Like 15 minutes warm up, this position, stretch. See you tomorrow. It's a one type of coaching, you know, and it's another type of coaching like probably it's like a personal, but again it's not personal for business. It's a personal coaching for business, and it's a personal coaching for life. It's hard to explain, but uh, like winning Olympic gold to me, it's my life. I I can give a lot, like it's my life. That's, I mean, it's wrong to say because my kids is my life, my family is my life. But out of this,
Right.
this is my life, and how I do it, if I don't feel attached to this athlete who can make it happen, I cannot coach. So it's take time when you getting close to your athlete. It's take time. Again, it's my style. I was talking about it was hard for me, because we're all human. It was hard with Aaron and Helen and Amit and Yelena. They're all human. Uh, and one time I talked about it with John Smith, and he told me, "Don't take it home. You leave it here in the restroom room. You finish practice, don't take it home." And
It's hard.
it's
Hard.
hard. I could not. So we're different. I don't know if John probably did take it home too. I believe he suggests me, but the way John is, I know John. so yeah, I
But
taken it home. It's my life. It's my life.
right. And it's one of those things where we know the right thing to say is not to take it home, or at very least try to take not too much home. So maybe that's really
Yeah,
what he's saying there.
yeah.
But
But it's all my home. This is my
Right.
home. This is my life.
Well, that's what, and I think that's important. Like even us just talking about that, because I remember like when I first saw you in Aaron Pico's corner, we're like, oh, this guy was Valentin Kalika, a Soviet trained. So you have this vision of the Soviets and the Russians, no emotions, and that kind of stuff. And it's like then they get to know you.
I did not have a mimical muscles to make emotion.
Right. Right. But then but the point is when people get to know you and you talk and it's like, oh wow, this guy really does have a big heart, a giving heart. And like, you are about that development of the athlete. And I guess that's kind of I think about what we spoke about the other day a little bit, and that about the developmental program, about ideally having like 8 kids to work with. That would be like somewhat of an ideal scenario to develop the kids, especially between, yeah.
Being honest, I don't know if 8 ideal.
Okay.
I think less is more ideal, but it's getting expensive. Maybe
Right.
one coach was ideally probably 6 kids, but you need to help more, because if we have, let's say, 6 programs in US, development programs with 4 or 5 people, it sounds like not even program, right? 8 already sounds better.
Right. Right.
So
But if you had
yeah,
your choice, yeah.
I mean, my choice, if I would, because I have to find who would support me financially. In my case, it wasn't still Andy Bars, but I mean, Andy cannot support all those dreams and programs, right? We need more people like Andy, great people like Andy. So with that, say 8 people. That's what I'm saying, because if somebody come to somebody else like Andy and say, "Oh, I want to have a development program for 3 kids or 4 kids," it does not sound. It could be actually good, but it does not sound like this person going to make a changes,
Right.
right? So yeah, that's why I'm saying 8 people, because when you're taking for traveling more than 8, it's going to be hard. But 8, it's actually, for what I'm saying, 8 people, it's not, it's enough. Because more people will be harder. 8 people, because we're talking about, stay together, doing homework. So we have to have some professional who is checking their homework, who is contacting those home schools or whatever schools online, and running those, kind of. I think it's a lot of work to do, and plus we have to take care while we travel about their health and so on and so on. So 8 people, it's, I
I sh
think it's not small number.
right.
8
And
people.
I should clarify for anyone who's watching that, because we spoke about this yesterday, we're going to probably put this video out
Mhm.
before we put out that video. So just to clarify, one of the things that you were proposing was possibly having an alternative route for people who are looking for international success, to do it a slightly different way, possibly a homeschool option, especially between the ages of 13 or 14 to 18 years old, which you had stated was very critical in developing their
Yeah.
technique. That period of time is very important for technical development, in your opinion, and that if you were able to have them where you were able to train once, even twice a day, and also have the latitude to go overseas and travel different places to build up their experience and their competition, that was a possible scenario we were thinking about for just USA in general. So just I wanted to give people a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, I did not tell you this, but back in Soviet, back Ukraine, Kiev, city Kiev, I was a coach. We had it's called Olympic school. What did it mean, Olympic school? It's like a boarding school. So we would have national tournament, and first 3 places. It was big national tournament for 14 years old kids. Something like 14. It was Uh, it was 1986 when I was last time there. So I think like 14 years old kids. And the first three places, and they were all over Ukraine. It was a national tournament. We would offer to move to Kiev to Olympic training school. Obviously, how many people would move, right? It's not like everybody who plays go to Kiev, say goodbye, mom, goodbye, dad. I'm moving to Kiev. So we would find maybe 8 people somewhere. But that's how we've been looking for those talent, right? And then we had the school where those kids were eating there, sleeping there. I mean, that's where they're home, boarding school. And we had 2 practices a day. So we've been working together with the teachers, collaborate with the teachers. Let's say we had a morning training, then they would go to school in the same building. And then they would go to evening practice. Then for this Olympic training school, we had a budget. We could travel, train with our senior national teams together. So that was development program. So we had the best kids training together, and it was like 8, 9, 10 grade. Back then it was 10 grade system. So 3 years, the year difference. So it's like a gap of 2 years. Kids, they were training together, and they traveled together. We had a budget, to do this training camps with a senior national team. And so we developed a lot of junior world champs back then. That was actually Soviet system. We had this couple schools in Moscow, Kiev, St. Petersburg, Tbilisi, Baku. Then we had the national Soviet Union nationals in one of the schools, Olympic training schools. So that was kind of system. And actually this system's still alive in Havana. When I was in Havana, I saw all those guys. They live there, they're training there. I mean, those schools really old, Soviets, like old Soviet schools, which remind me of my childhood. But they still have it in Havana, in Cuba. They have the system.
And
So that's what, and back then, East German had this system too. That's why, they start showing results, not in wrestling though, but in the cyclical sports in young age, because they've been training a lot, but they knew how to recover. So it's not something new. And by the way, it's very interesting. I have a friend of mine. He was a many years assistant national coach for USA women team, Izzy Zbornikov. I mean, Vlad Zbornikov, I'm sorry, not Izzy. Vlad Zbornikov. His nickname Izzy. A lot of people know him. He lives in Colorado. So now he's a principal of public school, like a boarding school. And he actually has a wrestling, I think Greco, and he has hockey players. And so we kind of start having this system in Colorado. Not many people know that. You should probably have an interview with him. Very interesting system too. So what I'm saying is nothing new. I'm just saying create something, a little bit more for extraordinary kids.
right. And as we spoke about the other day, you were able to actually do that with success.
And yeah, and like I told you last conversation, that because we live in America, we're free to do whatever we want. It's like you don't have to go to this school. What we did in Soviet, it was great, but with our freedom, with the people who would support, we can do what we decide to do the best for the kids. Time has changed. We have a homeschool, we have a school online. We can travel, not necessarily, whatever we want. Let's say we can take small weight classes and train in Japan, or we can train in Dagestan or Georgia, or we can have girls go in one place, Greco guys go another place. I mean, we're America. We can do that.
Right. That this is the spot where we could make that happen, and that
Yeah,
people could choose, do they want to do something that's maybe more similar to what's being done overseas, or would they rather go the normal path in America where they compete in high
yeah,
school and college?
yeah.
But I guess what's attractive about this idea, when you're looking specifically at international success, you were able to do this with people at a pretty young age, with Aaron Pico, Elena, Amit, Amit
Yeah.
Allure, Helen Maroulis. These are people who were able to get it done at a young age, and then maybe it's a different
No,
path for other
it's
people.
Helen and Elena not young age, but they, uh, it's gave them push to be on a different level
Right.
after traveling. I mean, they've been traveled before, I understand, but the way they travel with me was, we travel for the best men places for wrestling, where men would not allow them to touch girl, like Dagestan, Ossetia. So they were first girls in those places. And Amit was traveling to Georgia. There is no women wrestling in Georgia, right? So all those girls, Elena, Amit, Helen, they wrestle best men in the world. I mean, I'm not trying to tell something, but historically, wrestling came from men's sport, right? So I think it's a lot of things we can learn from men for women wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that this door was open to them
And
because they
yeah,
chose an alternative route. That's what we're getting at. That
I opened this door with bias.
you they were very blessed to have you because you helped kick the door down.
Yeah. It was, it was not easy to open this door, but when we opened this door, even now, Dagestan had a first European championship having women Greco and freestyle, first time in Dagestan.
Right.
So now it's common when a lot of girls go into Ossetia. Now we have wrestling. You can go Azerbaijan, but Azerbaijan actually staying a long time with women wrestling. But places like Dagestan, Ossetia, when we went in 2014, you could not find girls there.
Right.
So we did something.
Well, and then
again, because we are the country, we can do it.
right, you have more flexibility. They're
Yeah.
getting their schoolwork in, but you're able to work around the schedules of these
Yeah.
people that they wouldn't have that opportunity. And you were showing me pictures of the other day of Aaron Pico and these other wrestlers too, with Sajalayev, Saitiev, Sargush, Romanov,
Yeah.
all of them, many
Yeah.
other people, many other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. The best people back then, number one people in the world, and and girls were training with them too later.
Right. And then I think not only, so it's a few things. It's obviously you're able to work with them technically and competition. Talk about also, I guess, because we talk a lot about mindset. What does that do for them mentally, knowing that they're wrestling not just with the best wrestlers in California or Maryland, or New Jersey, but they're wrestling with the best wrestlers in the whole world? What does that do to their mindset?
Oh, it's your self-esteem probably going through the roof, I think.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's also you gotta play because physiologically, man stronger than woman, whether you like it or not, but that's physiology. And man faster than woman, right? You watch Olympic Games sprint, woman, man, so man gonna win. Same in wrestling. So, but again, it's understandable that if man would wrestle in full, 100%, it would be hard to wrestle this man. But they're very high level wrestlers who could kind of create situations and make you play wrestling, kind of make it really close to the reality, but a little bit give you up. And so this way, your technique become better, right? I think, let's say, when Helen was getting ready to wrestle Yoshida, Yoshida, great wrestler, 13-time world champ, 3-time Olympic champ. But I think if you put Yoshida in the same weight class let's say Hinchigashvili, right? I think Hinchigashvili is supposed to win this match, right?
Right.
But Hinchigashvili and guys like him knew how to wrestle Helen, make her feel she's good. She can take them down, right? And so, what do you think? Like when she hear and I was impressed with Helen too. Her technique, her wrestling IQ were like beyond imagine. And so I actually, as a coach, it was easy for me to tell. Like some people say, not sweet lie. Oh, you're the best. She was really the best. I deeply believe that she's way, way better than Yoshida. I was watching Yoshida and Helen. You can't even compare the way Helen wrestled. But those type of people like Himchigashvili or some Georgian guys, you probably don't know names, they could take her to the way she wrestled, start scramble with her the way they scramble, bring her to a different level of wrestling. Right. I believe. I mean, it's nothing new. For wrestling, you need the partners. The better partners you have, the better you are. It's understandable.
Right.
So that's what I provide. I provide best partners in the world, pretty much.
Yeah, that's huge. And again, like we said, it's just different for different people, but there's like overtraining is a real thing. And unfortunately, there are some very knowledgeable coaches, but there's also many coaches, especially at the high school level, that don't know as much. They mean well, but they just don't have the same knowledge base. So a lot of times these kids, they are overtraining, and then they're going to practice, and they're going to club, and they're doing strength training. They're like weightlifting maybe twice, 3 times a week. And it's just a lot. It's a lot for the human body to take. And all those coaches might not be communicating with one another. Like usually the high school coach, the club coach, and the strength coach are not talking.
Unfortunately, they don't communicate with a conditioning coach, not always communicate with a wrestling coach. That's my story.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know how to explain it, but
right.
My students were disappointed with me because I wanted to know what they do.
Right. Right.
So,
right. And following this alternative path, it gives coaches, it gives you and other coaches who might want to do this themselves, it gives them an opportunity to really know their athlete and to be able to build personalized programs, like even what we spoke about before with weightlifting. And of course, there's many programs who lift weights. A lot of people get good success from it, so we're not putting anyone down. But as you said, in your experience, some of the things you've seen is a lot of people be strong and doing more just body weight exercises after practice. Whereas a lot of times in America, we have a mentality of bodybuilding. You have to lift a lot of weights. And that might not be the case. It could help some people, but not always. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a lot of stories where, with many hours about like my experience with the weightlifting and wrestling. But I can tell you this. For example, tell me, let's say you're wrestling dead and you obviously saying, well, like you said, I saw your room with the weightlifting. Every wrestler have a good biceps. Let's do biceps. Why? Because wrestlers need the biceps. Because all wrestlers look tough. Tell me what wrestling move you need the biceps.
Very few. So I think
for example, I just asked a question.
Navy rod. If you get a Navy rod, you elevate. You have to. No, not many. But how about this? Like I said before about squats or deadlifts, they're compound movements.
Yeah, so
is that good? Or
it could serve to me. It could serve of season to build the muscles, and then you build it up. Your stamina, your explosiveness, you this. So as a concrete, base, yes, but not all year round. You have a stronger muscle now. You gotta build it up something for rest, explosiveness, right? So probably it's better jump for the perfect shot than squat if you want to have your legs fast.
But the problem is,
Right.
here's the problem in my head, and maybe other coaches, what they're going to say is, why not do both? Why not do the squat and the plyometrics? But then are we now risking overtraining? I don't know.
Well, it's not easy to teach technique the same day do squat, and because your legs already not explosive, and same day do this. It's a science behind it, you know. So again, I, I, I don't know. Like a squat does not look like a wrestling. Explosive squat, yes, but where you see like, let's say you do duck under, bring him up and throw suplex,
Right.
right? Or jump from your knees on your feet.
Right.
So like Greco, right? Like reversal lifting, you start on your knees, then you bring him up, go on your feet, and throw him back. I think you have to learn not to do squats. You have to learn how to jump from your knees to the squat and then come up. It's different skill,
Right.
right? So different skill, taking different exercises,
Right.
taking different grip. You know, you do weightlifting one grip, but your hands like this way, not like this, like this, like this. So it's a different exercises. So you
Right.
got to be creative, and you go into, you know, you go into a fitness coach, and fitness coach does not know this stuff. That's why, you know, I wanted to always meet coaches who's working with my athletes and explain them what I need from them.
Right.
I can use their help, but I need to explain them what I need, because, you know, they could help hockey player, running, you know, boxers, this different American football, whatever. So as a coach, I feel I need to communicate with them. I need to tell them exactly what I need. I need to tell them exactly what they do after practice, you know, in a fitness room, because they might be overtrained.
Great.
So,
Yeah.
so you know, but again, I always believe in the climbing rope after practice. I always believe when you're doing how do you call it,
Bench press.
bench press. Why don't you do bench press close to wrestling? Like you stand on the bridge and you do bench press on the bridge.
I guess I'd be afraid that, well, can a guy get hurt that way? Or I guess you don't have to put a lot of weight, just a little bit of weight.
I actually always did in the end of the practice plus 20 kilo of my weight.
Plus 40.
So no, 20, 25. So like 90 kilo. 90 kilo, it's 200 pounds.
While you're in a bridge.
On the bridge, I rolled my chest and did bench press.
I guess I would be afraid, well, what if a guy got hurt? Or I mean, you obviously worked up to it, of course. Like,
I think a lot of exercises got to be creative and close to wrestling. Off season, you can, you know, mentally you want to take a break, so you do what everybody does. It's okay. Take a vacation, go fitness, go swim, go surf. You need to gain weight. Let's say you decide after season to move upper weight, and let's say you're 16 years old kid and you're growing, you want to gain 20, 30 pounds, and you're growing, your bones ready, muscles. So yeah, go gain weight, do your squats, do whatever you're saying, bench press, do this stuff for a couple of months before season. You can do that to gain weight, to gain muscles. But when season coming, you have to teach your muscles, you know, teach your muscles to do what you need to do in wrestling. Because I see a lot of kids just doing, you know, right breeze with what is common with wrestling, you know. So it does not mean if you're strong that you're. How many bodybuilders good wrestlers?
right. No.
Show me bodybuilder who's gonna wrestle.
Right. Right. Right.
But best bodies wrestlers have best bodies. And a lot of wrestlers never had never lift anything, but they wrestle. By the way, that's what I learned from, I don't know the name, you help me. It was an old movie, black and white movie, before Second War, after Second War, but it was very famous in Soviet, Tarzan, about Tarzan story.
Tarzan.
Tarzan.
Okay.
Tarzan. Yeah, and it was like a famous swimmer, Olympic champ, who was playing this movie.
That's right.
Right? I don't know his name. I don't remember his name.
I've heard it before, but yes, I have heard this before.
Yeah, so they asked him what you do, to swim, being best in the world. He said, in order to swim, you have to swim. That was his answer. So I learned it as a kid in sport university back in Ukraine, in a book about American athletes. That's what they were saying. In order to swim, you gotta swim. So the answer, in order to wrestle, you gotta wrestle. So you wrestle more, your body becomes strong. And you want to be stronger, maybe wrestle upper weight guy.
Right.
You want to be faster, maybe wrestle smaller guy. Or do exercising. Again, you want to do squats, put the big guy on the shoulders and do squats. But you're gonna feel the body, you're gonna feel the balance.
Right. I guess I would think, well, yeah, I mean, well, it makes sense. I mean, what you're saying there makes sense, because it's more like in a match, it's not the same as having a bar. You're going to have to be able to hold the man up in the air. So you're going to have to feel, that awkwardness.
Yeah. And maybe when you're really good, just challenge yourself, say, hey, start moving a little bit on my back, start moving, so you move and you pick him up.
Right.
But it's the same muscles, but they work in the way you need them to work.
Right. That makes sense. I guess
right. So we can argue, because it's hard to say which system is better. I remember Snyder. I saw him in Rio de Janeiro. I think day before he wrestled, he was doing weightlifting, and he had a program. He's very disciplined, and he did weightlifting, and he won Olympic gold. So do I have a right to say it's wrong? No, I just say my opinion and my experience, and I would not do that.
Right. Right. So, we have to say, and of course, because you're always when you're dealing with individuals, each kid is an individual, but you try to say, well, for most people, most of the time, and that's even tough, because usually, Olympic champs are not most people.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, and again, it's different. Like I had argument with Amit, and I just watching her. She wants to be in the fitness room all the time, and then she proved she won world. So let it be.
Right. No, but it's good to talk about it, because I know a lot of people are curious, and a lot of people, I think we could look at it this way too. A lot of people might be afraid, if they don't lift weights like traditionally, like how they do in America, they're not going to be able to make it. They're not going to be strong. But when you're saying this, then I say, well, there is hope. Like, there's plenty of people who don't do it that way, who are still right.
Yeah, look, I'm 65. I never done weightlifting. I did weightlifting like every summer, July, like when we had a month off. I would do weightlifting and swim. Most of the time to look better at the beach.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
See, you are a Jersey guy. You're a California and Jersey guy.
No, but but now every year I do my record. Like last time I did 65 pull-ups. Right. So pull-ups is pull-ups, and I feel good in 65. I'm strong. I don't do weightlifting. So again, somebody, because weightlifting, they feel strong. Somebody feel they do weightlifting, they like their explosiveness. My uncle, he was actually first Olympic champion for Ukraine in freestyle. Boris Gurevich, that's the guy who won in Mexico Olympic Games in 1968. His body actually had a perfect body. If you go organization United Nations in New York, it's a monument. He said, like, that's from his body.
Wow.
Serious,
Yeah.
serious. That's from his body. He passed away 3 years ago, but when he was young, so it was very famous artist from Soviet. He used his body for this monument. I mean, it's history. I can show you in the Google.
Yeah.
And so he had a perfect body, but then he told me when he started doing a lot of weightlifting, he lost his farmer's cap because his farmer's cap was very tiny. He was like, you know, like involved in pull and drop. And so when he started doing weightlifting, he lost this move. He said he lost timing. And he was pretty good, two-time world champ, Olympic champ. That's
Yeah.
what he told me too. So it's a lot of opinions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the main thing is that it's people don't need to dogmatically hold like I have to lift weights. Like that's the only way. That's
Yeah,
that I think maybe that's the conclusion, not what should people do, but that don't feel like you have to do it that way if you want to be a good wrestler and be strong, because there are alternative paths.
absolutely.
Man, that's great stuff. So we said this conversation would be 10 minutes and we kept our promise.
Yeah, absolutely. Like always.
Oh, good stuff, Valentin. Well, we'll have to do it again. Anything else that we missed? I'm sure there's a lot more we could have talked about. Yeah, so I mean, I guess well, Olympic trials coming up. That's going to be exciting. I mean, you know, we're gonna find out who the best is at each weight. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
How are you gonna cut this conversation though?
Yeah. Well, that's we'll see. We'll figure out how we do it. But I think people like the long form. But we'll all right, we'll cut it here. And great stuff. We'll have to do another conversation.
Okay,
Thanks,
sounds great.
Valentin.
Shabbat
All right.
shalom. Bye.